So here's an idea.
Okay.
You go into a game store and they've got all these old consoles and some that you really love and you forgot that you enjoyed them, and you've got enough money for one console and one game.
Okay. So I got $20.
You got 20. What do you buy?
So what you're talking about isn't necessarily the game that was the best on that system, not the best selling, but exemplifies that system just on a whole.
Correct.
What was the most N64-ish N64 game ever?
Yeah, I mean, like when I worked at I noticed more often than not people would come up with a console and a game or two, and one of those specific games was always pretty much the same one.
For instance?
For example, I've noticed that just from friends and family and from working there, when somebody would come up with a Wii, more often than not, they would come up with Mario Kart. It's not probably the best-selling game of the entire console, and it's probably not, one of the best to represent what the console can do. It's just the game that they came up with because more people played it, they had fun with it, and it seemed to, be kind of more of that than, say, something like Twilight Princess.
So what you're saying is that Mario Kart was really the killer app for the Wii.
Yeah, killer app. So yeah, what would be a killer app for some of the consoles for like N64? What would you think would be the killer app for N64?
I think for the N64, I would say GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
And while I didn't personally play it, I've played it like on emulators later and stuff like that. Pretty much whenever anyone asks me, "Oh, have you played an N64?" they don't really so much ask me if I've played with an N64. They ask me if I played GoldenEye. They don't so much represent anything else except maybe Super Mario 64. But that was a launch title, and that was more of a, hey, wow, we're in 3D now. And GoldenEye just really seems like that was the game that everybody played.
Yeah, and it was and when it came out, I think that's part of the reason because people loved Doom.
Yeah.
But the graphics were just kind of at the time they were good, but as titles go on, and GoldenEye just really pushed the envelope of what you could do on a console, doing a first base. You didn't have to play it on a PC anymore. Oh my gosh, a first-person shooter that you didn't have to play on a PC, oh gosh, that's a great idea. Hey, we can all plug in controllers and play it right here. So, that might also be a reason why it was, kind of neat that way. For the PlayStation, I mean, Final Fantasy VII might also be a good one for the PlayStation. Everybody's got it.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it, everybody had it.
Yeah, pretty much anyone, I think, has either played FF7, maybe one of the Twisted Metal games. No, it's pretty much FF7.
People remember Twisted Metal, but they own still.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy. What was the next? Dreamcast. What would be a good one with the Dreamcast?
I'd say Crazy Taxi. First one that comes to mind on the Dreamcast. Power Stone? No. Pretty many people knew Power Stone.
Yeah, I think Crazy Taxi because everybody had Crazy Taxi. And, and when you go to a game store, what's the game you see the most of? Because everybody had it.
Yeah, it was the most prolific title. Yeah. What would you say for the GameCube?
GameCube would be tough. Perfect Dark might be up there.
But Perfect Dark is on other platforms, though.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it is now. What about Smash Brothers?
Melee. Yes. Oh, completely. In fact, the guy who did Brawl, the group that he did Brawl with, don't know if you knew this, he actually went to see if they enjoyed, Melee, and they said, well, yeah, here's our controllers. Look at the thumb button. It's all worn down. Because they played it every chance they could get. So, PS2.
PS2. Oh.
That's going to be a tough one, because they're still making games, but it's still kind of died
It's
recently?
pretty much past its prime. I would say Kingdom Hearts. Because it's sold a lot of copies. It's one of the best-selling games on the PS2. Pretty much whenever I talk to someone about the PS2, they're either playing like more of the serious games, but they're pretty much playing that.
What about Final Fantasy X, though? I mean, love it or hate it, a lot of people got Final Fantasy X because of the Final Fantasy series, and I don't want to exclude that just because it was, we already mentioned 7.
Right. Yeah.
And it's strange that it should be an RPG in there instead of something else.
Yeah. Well, I know the best-selling game for the PS2 is GTA San Andreas, which I really have a hard time counting as anything because it's not really a killer app. It's not really specific to the PS2. You can play it on pretty much every platform.
That's a good point. So if we're going to think about something that people walk up with,
it's probably going to be Final
Probably-
Fantasy X.
probably gonna-
Now that you say it, yeah, Final Fantasy X, 10, 2.
yeah, because not everybody was into Disney
That's true.
at the time, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah.
And I myself have never actually beat either one of them. I didn't care for either one of them very much, so
But that's a whole
that's another game. That's another video for another time.
And now with the ending of Xbox Live, I guess the one to end off on would be Xbox.
Well, I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. It's Halo.
Halo. I mean, what's the thing that's that was at the time keeping Xbox
That was the last,
Live?
yeah, on the original, yeah. Well, and the Xbox really suffered from sequelitis in a way,
Yeah.
because the Xbox 360 really killed the original.
Yeah.
But no, I'd say that Halo multiplayer was very persistent. I think people are still playing Halo 2. In fact, you can still buy Halo 2 brand new in Best Buy.
Really?
Yes, they have released a version of it that completely works on the 360. They've tweaked it a little bit with the latest updates, and you can get the Xbox Platinum version of Halo 2 brand new, still sealed.
Which is a shame because we were thinking about other games that would work in the other systems, but Xbox, what is there? I mean,
It's
we
pretty much
know Halo. And then what else? You know, I mean, Fable, but that also came out on PC, didn't it?
I think Fable would probably be the other one if you were to argue for 2. I would argue for Fable.
Would be.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, please give us your
Let us
comments.
know.
And start the conversation below. Anyways, that'll do it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on the Gaming Pipeline.